Welcome all, welcome. I apologize about the technical difficulties, but nonetheless, we're going to begin the stream now. And today and yesterday, the frenzy has begun. The frenzy. And I have all the teams behind me that are in the Yamamoto sweepstakes, the Yamamoto hunt, one of the most desired players in the last decade. And the New York Mets, right now, they are playing a game of really cat and mouse right now. And I got to give the Mets credit. Apparently, there have been bids that have been offered to Yamamoto. I don't believe, as of Tuesday night, the Mets have made an official offer to Yamamoto. Now, that is strategic, folks. That is strategic. The New York Mets have the most money. They plan to make the highest bid. They really do. The Mets increasingly have been more and more confident. They really have. And as this thing goes, folks, I know if you have a Yankee fan, a Yankee friend, or a Red Sox fan in your family, or a Dodgers fan, everybody seems to be very confident, especially Yankee fans. They think it's in the bag. They think just because their history and because their team has won 27 World Series, Yamamoto's going to run to the Yankees. But you know what, folks? If it was a heartfelt decision, if it was just an emotional decision, first of all, that wouldn't be business. That wouldn't be business. Number one, this is going to be a business decision. Steve Cohen has laid it on the line. He has told Yamamoto what he's in for, what differentiates his opportunity in Queens from his opportunity in the Bronx, and especially his opportunity in LA. There have been articles out there that have said that Steve Cohen actually used Shohei Ohtani as a negative. Said if you play in Shohei Ohtani's shadow, that is not something that is appealing. So he actually threw that pitch out to Yamamoto. And apparently that's going to be the same thing in the Bronx. If you go to the Bronx, you're going to be a second in the rotation behind Garrett Cole. And, folks, we talked about it this last night, but just to go over, you're going to be in the shadow of Aaron Judge, the shadow possibly of Juan Soto, again, the shadow of Shohei Ohtani, the shadow of Mookie Betts. But in Queens, you will be the player on the team. We will be building around you. For a 25-year-old to have a franchise built around him is something super, super significant. And if you look at a lot of the talking heads out there, they're saying that the team that Yamamoto played for is kind of like the little brother team in Japan. So there's two teams in the area. The Oryx Buffalo was the little brother. And they're saying that Yamamoto doesn't want to be the little brother anymore, that he wants to be on the big brother team. I don't know where they get this from. I don't know where they make this up, because at the end of the day, money talks. Money talks. I was reading a Yankee fan, and a Yankee fan said yesterday, and he goes, you know what? We only have to offer Yamamoto $280 million because he's going to run to the Bronx. He's going to run there. $280 million? There's already multiple offers from some of these big market teams that are well past $300 million. So as it's saying, to get in the ballpark, you have to bid at least $300 million, at least. Whether you're the Yankees, you're the Dodgers, just to get in the Yamamoto game, just to earn his respect, you have to bid $300 million. Now, this offseason, it is a perfect storm because you have all these major market teams looking for the services of pitchers. They don't have pitchers, so they're all looking for pitchers. If you look at the demand in MLB, there's not as many aces as there have been in years past. There just really aren't. So the supply is really limited. The demand is through the roof, especially this year when there's just crappy free agents, Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell. The Mets don't want to pivot there. They don't. They don't. So we're not even going to explore those options until we have to explore those options, because based on what the way it's going right now, I really get the indication that we don't even want to even go down that road. We don't even want to go down that road, which is pretty interesting. It's just pretty interesting because it just shows you the level of talent just really, really drops off. Okay. Hey, what's up, Robbie? How's it going today? I apologize. I had a lot of technical difficulties before, but thank you so much. Okay, I got a bunch of topics I want to go through today. First topic, I don't know if anybody saw this. MLB insider Steve Phillips, obviously the former general manager of the New York Mets. They asked him, they said, who's the front runner? Who's the front runner? Is it the Mets? Is it the Yankees? Is it the Red Sox? Is it the Giants? Is it another team? And Steve Phillips said, no doubt about it, it is our New York Mets. No doubt about it. In fact, his quote was very, very interesting. I want to get it. I have it right here for you. So this is what Steve Phillips says. So MLB insider Steve Phillips goes, people keep saying it's the Los Angeles Dodgers, it's the New York Yankees, but I keep thinking to myself, if he's going to make the decision, he's going to come to New York, he's going to be a Met, Phillips said. First off, you have Kodai Senga there, and the Mets did a nice job assimilating Senga into the rotation last year. He had a fantastic season. So that's Steve Phillips' number one point. Then the other thing, if it comes down to money, obviously we have Steve Cohen, who has more dollar value or dollar available than anyone, especially Hal Steinbrenner. They will have one more dollar available, and they will go out and outspend anybody, which is 100% true. We have never seen Steve Cohen really in action. We've never seen Steve Cohen who really desired a player. This is the first player since Steve Cohen has been the owner of the Mets where we're going to get an opportunity to see him go all out. This is the first time. And right off the bat, we see strategically, he really wants the guy. He's one of the teams not making an offer. So I find that very significant as a significant part of his strategy. Plus, another thing that Steve Phillips said about this, and he goes, I found it interesting. Yamamoto went to go meet the Mets for a dinner at Steve Cohen's house. And then they scrambled to put together a meeting with the Yankees while he was there. It seemed like the meeting with the Mets was a priority. It seemed like the meeting with the Yankees was just something that they had to do, which was significant. The Mets meeting came first. The second Mets meeting came first. It was scheduled first. And then the meeting with the Yankees happened literally hours and hours later, like Steve Phillips said, like it was scrambled to get together. So that is actually pretty significant. I never really looked at it in that regard, like it was put together like, oh, willy-nilly. But if the Yankees brass, I don't know exactly who constituted or who arranged the meeting, but it was put together quite fast. And it was in a response to the Mets meeting with Yamamoto. So just kind of like put that and mesh that. And I'm going to keep saying this. The longer this goes, the more this favors the Mets. Because as the Yankee fans and Dodger fans keep saying, oh, he's going to go to us because of the history. How could he not go to the Dodgers or the Yankees? If it's so blatantly obvious and if it's such an obvious decision, he would have went. And I don't think the Dodgers and the Yankees are going to go anywhere near the amount of offer that Cohen's going to make. Cohen, I believe, will make a $400 million offer and won't even think twice. Meaning with the amount of posting fee, it's going to be over $450 million. If that's what it's going to take, or even if he puts the impression that he'll make an offer like that just to kind of like scare off other teams, I don't think there's any doubt. Like I keep saying, Cohen is a calculated billionaire who has $20 billion. He doesn't like to lose, and he doesn't lose often. He doesn't. He really doesn't. And I think he is trying his very best to show us, as owner of the New York Mets, that this will be a success. Because thus far, you love Steve, you hate Steve. He hasn't been successful. He hasn't. Last year was a disaster. It was a disaster. So this Yamamoto thing is a significant opportunity. Wash the taste out of our mouths, because I can't get the taste out of my mouth. Last year was horrendous. And I talk about it with the good subscribers on our channel. What we had to go through those last couple of months was unacceptable. Unacceptable for a $400 million team or $370 million, whatever we paid. And what we had to deal with, no. Cohen, we deserve this. Us Met fans deserve Yamamoto, right? And I highly think Yamamoto is considering us. If he wanted to be a Yankee so bad, he would have been a Yankee by now. Okay? He would have been a Yankee by now. He's been a free agent for a couple of days now. He's had all the meetings. He knows what's on the table. It just doesn't seem right now he wants to go there. It seems like he's more interested in hearing what other teams like the Mets have to offer. And here's also another thing about the Yankees. And I'm not here to kill the Yankees. I'm really not. Like the Juan Soto pickup, it was great. You got a really good player, probably future Hall of Famer. Like I said, take care of him this year. Really take care of him. Good move by the Yankees. But in the past couple years, the Yankees haven't put the pedal to the metal like they did in the George Steinbrenner years. That's a fact. That's a fact. They haven't won nothing in the last decade and a half almost. They really haven't. So if Yamamoto is looking at the recent past of the Yankees, they should automatically be disqualified. The Yankee fans saying we got 27 World Series. Who the heck cared what you did when Babe Ruth was playing and when Mickey Mantle was playing? Whenever they won World Series, who the heck cares what the Yankees did a century ago? I don't understand. If you want to talk about the last 2 decades, you went to the World Series one time, just like the New York Mets. So in terms of recent history, and 2 decades, that's a long time. That's more than recent history. The Mets are on almost a level playing field as the Yankees in terms of winning World Series. And the Yankees have had that advantage of having that high payroll for the duration of the 2 decades. Of investing money in their farm system for the duration of the 2 decades. So there's honestly no excuses for the Yankees to have not won. And that is the same philosophy and the same mentality that I'm putting on our New York Mets. Going forward with our payroll, our resources, there is no excuse for us to not win in the future. Now, this offseason thus far has been very unimpressive. Are we acquiring relievers? Are we acquiring extra pitchers? Yes, but you know what? Let me give you an example. What I'm talking about. Okay. All right. So 2 days ago or a day ago, so the Mets, they made the trade for Yohan Ramirez, right? So they gave $100,000 to the Chicago White Sox, and they acquired Yohan Ramirez. He's a guy with some potential. He doesn't really impress me, but here's the thing: you acquire a guy like Yohan Ramirez, and you acquire a bunch of other relief pitchers in hope that maybe there'll be a David Robertson, that maybe they'll have a performance like another. I don't even want to say a Liam Hendricks, but there are free agent pitchers or bullpen pitchers on the free agent list where you don't have to take a gamble. So that's what I'm a little frustrated with. I'm hoping that when we do get a Yamamoto, that we're not going to have any more of these signings, because we're done right now. We've got our depth pieces, and a lot of these depth pieces are really missed. They seem like missed depth pieces because they haven't been successful much in their career. So Yamamoto is a very desperate move for the Mets, and that's what I want to see. I want to see a desperate Steve Cohen, and I normally don't say this. I normally say that when we are desperate, we don't make good moves. But in the case of Yamamoto, who was rated by Baseball America as a 70 grade prospect, he's a guy that I would be desperate to get. Now, I know a couple of days ago, Adam Jones, he was on a podcast. He was the former teammate of Yamamoto back in Japan, and he was basically talking about how Yamamoto is just different, how Yamamoto does everything different. He works out differently. Everything he doesn't lift weights. So I was a bit interested in that based on the fact that if you sign him for 10 years, the thing you're worried about is you don't want the guy to get hurt. So the fact that he's not lifting weights could be construed as a good thing, because a lot of these guys, they get too bulky and they can get hurt. So if he's found some type of other type of workout program that really works for him and has put him on that other level, that is something that I really, really want to hear. Adam Jones also said, they asked him, is he a loud vocal teammate? And he goes, well, he's a guy who smiles a lot. He's a guy who has a good attitude. He's a guy that likes to win. He's a guy who likes to spend a lot of money. And you know what? The thing that I like when he talked about money, if this guy wants a lot of money, the number one team for him to go to is Steve Cohen, because he's going to get a crazy offer. And you see it, folks. Just wait and see. It's probably going to come out within the next day or so. There's going to be a crazy, ridiculous offer in my estimation. And just a comment on Juan Soto. The Yankees this offseason, they're operating very different than they've had in the past. They really are. And I kind of surmise that Juan Soto was a desperate attempt to sell to Yamamoto like, oh, we're all in. But Yamamoto's a lot smarter than that, in my opinion. Soto's only there until next offseason. If he wants to go play somewhere like to the Dodgers, at least he knows Ohtani's going to be there for the next decade. So I just have a feeling if he goes somewhere, it's either going to be the Dodgers or the Mets. I have the Mets at about 50% right now, but I have no feeling at all that he's going to the Yankees. And the Yankees, I feel that their attempt is they're kind of resting on their laurels. They're kind of resting on the fact that, you know what, come to us just because we're the Yankees. And I really don't think that's going to work. Yeah, explosive. I heard that report that Yamamoto could drag this out to sign in January. First of all, I don't know why he would do that, but my point, what I said a little while ago, if he does drag this thing out, I think that's a benefit of the Mets, because as you hear all these Yankee people, prognosticators, they're saying he's going to come to the Yankees. He wants to come to the Yankees. Well, if he wants to come to the Yankees, he's not going to wait for 2 weeks. The reason why he's evaluated or would evaluate it for another 2 weeks is because I guess he is really highly considering what a Steve Cohen has on the table for him. The Yankees offer is going to probably be cut and dry. It's going to be lower than the Mets offer, and you're going to have to go there because of the Yankee tradition, the Yankee brand. Why should Yamamoto accept less? Especially if we're going to offer him to play in a big city, the same damn city. We're 20 minutes away from the Bronx. We're literally 20, 25 minutes, depending on traffic. So he's going to play in the same area. So if he desires to play in the same market, he should take the extra money. It shouldn't even be a question. So I don't count the Yankees in this. I really don't count the Yankees in this. Plus, the Yankees, they have their ace. They have Garrett Cole. They have Rodon. They have Nestor Cortez. He's not really a need for him. It wouldn't even make sense. It wouldn't even make sense for the Yankees to pay him $400 million. Like, at least, with the Mets, you're like, oh, this guy's going to help your brand. That's why I just really don't see the Yankees getting this guy. I really don't. Yeah, and Robbie, like I opened it up. This is Yamamoto. He's an athlete, but he's a businessman. These basketball players, LeBron James, he's a businessman. He's a billion-dollar athlete, LeBron James. Michael Jordan, $5 million. This Yamamoto, he could be a billion-dollar athlete as well. Shohei Ohtani's going to be a billion-dollar athlete probably by the time it's all said or done. So these guys represent their brand. Where can their brand be magnified the most? Obviously, you want to go to a big city. So I think New York or LA. That's where I have. Another interesting article. I don't know who saw it. I just saw it with the Phillies, that the Phillies are actually making a really desperate push. I mentioned yesterday how they had Bryce Harper FaceTime Yamamoto. I mean, I know Yamamoto's English, he's working on it, so I don't know how well that worked. But so they had Bryce Harper FaceTime him, and they re-signed Aaron Nola too. So, at least they would be putting two guys together. I just think the Phillies it's just not going to happen. So I'm looking right here. So Jim Bowden tweets, the Yamamoto free agent sweepstakes has been fun. It's been a fun ride with 6 big market teams courting him. You got the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Mets, the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Giants, all the teams I have up here. And understanding it will take over $300 million to land him, including posting fee, East versus West, AL versus NL. Does he take the best offer or the best situation? All this drama. So that was by Jim Bowden today. But then an article came out, and it basically says that Dave Dombrowski of the Phillies has been putting the hard press on him. It really has. So Jim Bowden said the Phillies are still interested. The Phillies, there were reports that they were meeting with Yamamoto. He was the free agent pitcher that the organization was most interested in pursuing. So, it's funny. It seems initially they were interested in Yamamoto, but then they pivoted to sign Nola. But now I guess after viewing all these big market teams that they would have to compete with, like the Dodgers and the Yankees, now the Phillies are back in it. The Phillies want and heavily are in the Yamamoto sweepstakes. I don't know if Yamamoto would consider it, but that's why they got Bryce Harper to lure him to being a Philly. But I don't think that's a viable option. They have Zach Wheeler they have to extend. Although, I wouldn't even think twice. I would choose Yamamoto. I would choose to give that money to Yamamoto than Zach Wheeler. The reason why I like to talk about Philly is because Philly is a close competitor. But I really think the Phillies, they're going to choose to extend Zach Wheeler. Obviously, they chose to re-sign Nola. And it seems like they're going to renegotiate with Bryce Harper. So they're gonna be dealing or giving out a lot more money, doling out a lot more money. So I don't really see them having to make that type of offer, at least the type of offer at the level it would take. Hey, what's up, Juan? Yeah, Juan, great point. Great point. So this is what I've been saying. This offseason has been an F-, right? everything has been hinging on Yamamoto, right? So if the Mets sign Yamamoto, they're going to go down a different path. If they don't sign Yamamoto, they're going to go down I believe, a crappy path. But if they sign a Yamamoto, there's going to be moves to follow. And those moves, in my opinion, are going to be more or less winning moves. So I heard, like, for example, they signed Yamamoto. Maybe they could be interested in trading for a Shane Bieber. If they don't get a Yamamoto, they're going to be a lot more conservative, and they're going to go down probably a different route. They're probably going to try to reset the luxury tax, a route that I believe us fans don't really deserve to watch or deserve to accept. Of course, most Met fans, yes, we're going to watch it. We're going to hope our young players develop, but I would rather have the excitement of having these guys who are accomplished, these guys who I know can perform. So that's why I'm excited to see if we sign a Yamamoto. What would be the next moves? What would be the bats that we acquire, knowing that we actually have an ace in our rotation? What would be that second pitcher? Because if we get a Yamamoto, I think our second pitcher will be of a lot higher level than if we don't even get a Yamamoto. Yeah, so wait, I just saw an interesting comment. Oh, okay. So from Dan, so Mets, they're setting themselves to be like the Blue Jays, to be like Blue Jays fans. I don't care. I don't care. I want Yamamoto. My heart's in Yamamoto. I don't care if we got to track the flights, whatever we got to do. I want Yamamoto. I want Yamamoto. We're going to deal with what comes with the repercussions. Will it hurt if we don't get Yamamoto? But why think about that right now? Every fan base I have up here has their heart set on Yamamoto. What do we have that every fan base doesn't have? We have the richest owner in baseball, and not only do we got a guy with money, we got a guy in money who's a guy in baseball who's willing to spend the money, right? Not only is he willing to spend the money, but he's willing to actually go out, negotiate with these free agents. This is actually insane. You don't have House Steinbrenner negotiating with free agents like Steve Cohen does. Steve Cohen has him at their house for dinner. I mean, that is how you develop respect with your players. Now, a lot of people aren't giving the Mets credit for signing Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander. No one thought a couple years ago Max Scherzer was signing with the Mets. Nobody thought that. They thought he was going back to the Dodgers. They 100%, and the Dodgers wanted him. The Dodgers wanted him. So Steve Cohen won a couple years ago. Last year, when they signed Justin Verlander, the Astros wanted him. So the Mets have been successful in signing these free agents that other big market teams wanted, and that other fan bases said, you're not getting because you're the Mets and you stink and you guys are losers. You guys are the little brother. Well, we already beat you last year with Verlander. We already got Max Scherzer a couple years ago. So we've been successful time and a few times already. Doesn't mean we're going to be successful now, but for people to say it can happen, I mean, that's foolish. I'm at about 50-50 right now. 50% chance the Mets could sign him, 50% chance any other team could sign him. Yankees, I don't feel so strongly about, but the Dodgers could sign him. So it could happen. It could happen. Yamamoto wakes up one day and I want to go to the Dodgers. You never know. But I'm going to have confidence. I'm going to have confidence that Steve Cohen and the front office are doing everything in their power to sway the guy. So that's all we can kind of hope for right now. Yeah, see, Robbie, like right now, like I don't even want to think about trading Pete Alonso because I know you've definitely heard me say this. If we don't get Yamamoto, I believe that Pete Alonso trade is heavily on the table. I believe it's heavily on the table. But if we have a Yamamoto, if we have an ace, you're going to need that slugger in the middle of your lineup. You're going to need a guy who's a run producer. So I don't even want to think about that. Once Yamamoto signs with us or elsewhere, then we got to open our expand our minds and kind of figure out what all our options are. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing, Juan. Unless we get absolutely really lucky and we rip off another team and we trade for players who are ready to come up with the next year or so. But then again, if somebody trading a player who's that productive, why wouldn't they just keep him? Pitching is such a premium. The only way we would get premium pitching is if they were like single A players and 2 or 3 years away. So you're absolutely right. We would really push our rebuild for at least 3 years. So very soon, we're going to figure out what Yamamoto truly values, what he's truly looking for. Is he looking for the most money? Is he looking for that team with a legacy? Is he looking for that team that has the best chance to win next year? Is he looking for that team who has the ability to be sustainable, to win each and every year? I mean, there are so many different things that Yamamoto could value. And it could be all of these. It could be all of these. But there is probably one thing that he values the most. Most often with free agents, it's money. It's money. It's money. They value the most money, right? So I think Yamamoto is a guy, he's a human being, probably thinks and acts like a human. So I would assume he would go after the most money. Legacy. Everybody's saying, okay, the guy wants to leave a legacy. The guy will be in New York City, biggest stage in the world. What better legacy to win with a team who's not the Yankees, who hasn't won 27 times without you, who has been in almost a 36, 37-year drought, however long 86 was. The Dodgers just won 3 years ago, 2020. The Yankees, although it's a long time, they won in 2009. The Giants, I heard something about the Giants. The Giants won 3 times without them, without him in the last decade, and I don't think he's going to the Giants. So all these other teams, yeah, you can go there, you can create a legacy, but I don't think you're going to be able to have a better legacy than if you sign and you succeed with the New York Mets. You see the players in 1986 who won, they are still treated like gods when they go to Citi Field. Darryl Strawberry, obviously, we all love Darryl Strawberry. Whether you're a young kid or guy who watched or somebody who was at the game, everybody knows who Darryl Strawberry is. Dwight Gooden. We love the 1986 team. Obviously, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling. These guys will always have a place in the hearts of Mets fans. Always. Because they did something that not many players in Major League history have done. They have succeeded in New York City. They have succeeded in New York City with the Mets. Okay. So let me put that clarification. And it's not easy. It's really not easy. So if he wants that type of legacy that has that attachment to something being very, very difficult, and you don't do it with Aaron Judge, who you're going to be in his shadow, you don't already have an ace, Garrett Cole, you're not even going to be maybe the best pitcher on your staff. It is going to be completely different if you win with the New York Yankees as opposed to if you win with the New York Mets. You will be viewed completely different. Completely. Now, you also have an ability or possibility to build the brand. Steve Cohen constantly has been talking about the brand. Shohei Ohtani is a global figure, and that's why I wanted Shohei Ohtani, because that's how we instantly built the New York Mets brand. Yes, he's probably not going to be healthy the 10-year contract, but I wanted to pay for building the brand instantly. I wanted the Mets to be a global brand instantly, and you would have had to pay for it. You would have had to pay for it. Now, the Mets have an opportunity to build their global brand. He's not going to be Shohei Ohtani. He's going to be Yamamoto. He's going to be the best pitcher that's come out of Japan. He's going to be probably one of the best free agent pitchers that we've talked about since Pedro Martinez in 1997. Greg Maddux was a free agent in 1992. So this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for the New York Mets. I don't think Steve Cohen is going to let it go by. I don't think Steve Cohen is going to put an offer on the table that's anywhere close to the other offers, especially the Yankees or the Dodgers. I think he knows the New York Mets have to pay up. He knows that the brand of the Dodgers and the brand of the Yankees, whether you like the team or not, supersedes the brand of the Mets. It does. No, you can't pass that up. So Steve Cohen knows that he's going to have to pay up to get this guy. And is Yamamoto going to be a guy to leave $50, $60, $70 million on the table? Because I'm confident that Steve Cohen is going to substantially beat the Yankees. I really do. I really do. And here's the thing. You may have to go long-term. You may have to give him like a 10 or 12-year contract, which in the pitching world is unheard of. But here's where you make it, rationalize it. Here's where you can rationalize it. Garrett Cole, he got paid $324 million. I think that's the exact amount for 9 years. So that takes him to $36 million a year. Garrett Cole, I believe, signed when he was 29 or 30 years old. So even if you give Yamamoto a 12-year contract, that'll take him to 37. It'll take him to 37. Chances are he'll get hurt, but chances are the bulk of the contract, you're hoping he pitches. Garrett Cole is going to be 38 at the end of his contract. So that's how you can kind of equate it. He kind of has a Garrett Cole contract in terms of when it ends, but you're going to get the production of Yamamoto 25 to age 30 that you didn't really get for Garrett Cole if you're the Yankees. So I think that's what you're going to have to do if you're going to secure a player like this. If you have a perfect storm, there's a perfect storm brewing right now in the free agent market, and that's amongst the pitchers. Like I mentioned, the demand for pitching, great pitchers right now are very rare. There just aren't good pitchers like there were years ago. The demand for good arms is off the chart. So if there's no supply and the demand is off the chart, that's where you're going to get these crazy mega contracts. That's when you're going to get all these teams right now, all these high, big market teams throwing money, like insane amounts of money. Like money means nothing. Because money to these guys doesn't really mean anything. Their money, each one of these teams is making money hand over fist. And they will produce a lot of money from the Yamamoto signing. They will. They'll produce marketing dollars. Obviously, their team will improve. They have better chances of making the playoffs, better chance of getting to the World Series. They will get a significant part of this contract back just based on performance, marketing. So it'll be worth it. For the Mets, it is worth it times 10 because of the brand, because essentially, if you're the New York Mets, you are trying to chase down the Dodgers. You are trying to chase down the Yankees right now. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to cheat in a way because you fast forward your timeline by increasing your global brand recognition if you get a Yamamoto. You do. Yes, we got a Senga last year, but Senga doesn't have the global name. Ohtani would have been amazing. Ohtani would have been amazing. Yamamoto, best pitcher to come out in Japan. I don't know. This is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing he's the best pitcher to come out of Japan. Like, I know they had Hideo Nomo years and years ago, but this guy's supposed to be better than him. So I'm excited to see him. And he's also slotting in with major league pitchers like this, saying he could be a top 5 pitcher today, right? And a top 5 pitcher today, Garrett Cole, the best pitcher, gets $36 million. So the contracts are going to have to be accordingly. They're going to have to be paid accordingly based on our current free agent pitcher market, meaning no good pitchers are available. The price tag goes up that much more. Yeah, so like I've been getting a lot of my a lot of the info. Like, I look at Andy Martino because it seems like he always has it seems like he has like the legit news, the official trades. He doesn't really deal with Mets rumors. Like, he won't say anything positive about the Mets unless it's absolutely true. So if any confirmation about news, I always double check with Andy, because if I think it's good or somebody's BSing, I got to double check with Andy because I know he's not going to put any BS on there. If it's good news, it's going to be confirmed. BMW, yes. So I see that Yamamoto will buy number 18 from Strawberry for $100,000. Um, you know what? Why not? The guy's gonna have $400 million. Oh, my eyes are so bad. Uh, Demon, 27 championship in history. No, you know what? I'm on like my Mets rant right now, right? I know I wish the Mets had 27 championships. I just think when push comes to shove, when somebody's gonna make you an offer that's so much better, let's just say the Yankees offer less. And that's what I suppose. I'm guessing the Yankees will offer less because it makes sense for the Yankees to offer less. They are better built in the rotation. They already have an ace. They have depth in their pitching. They have Nestor Cortez. They have Carlos Rodon, who they're paying a lot of money to. They're going to have to pay Juan Soto next year if they intend to keep him. They already doled out a lot of money to Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton. They have a couple annoying contracts on the books. So just in terms of money and finances, I don't see the Yankees being close to a Steve Cohen offer. I don't. And at the end of the day, is Yamamoto going to love the Yankees that much more where he's going to leave $100 million or $50 million on the table? If, Yankees, I heard they were offering like $330. What if Cohen goes to $420? My whole estimation is I believe that Cohen is going to do something, if you looked at my last video, insane with the amount. Insane. If you saw what the Dodgers offered Ohtani, they offered him an insane amount. We there were rumors he was going to make $500 million, $550 million, $600 million, $700 million is insane. But that's what they had to do to guarantee themselves to get the guy. Like, I forgot who said it. It was a very, very good quote. I don't know who said it. If anybody could remind me. They said that if you're going to, and this might have been Cashman. I think it was Cashman. So this is Cashman's word. They said if you're going to be rational in free agency and make a rational offer, you're always going to finish third and fourth. For you to get these top tier guys, you're going to have to be irrational. So if the Yankees are rational, and I don't think they're going to be as irrational as Steve Cohen. If they are rational and make a $400 million offer, then the Mets have a lot lower of a chance to get him. They do. Yuki, here's the thing. Anybody, whether they're signing Justin Turner, Matt Moore, Kevin Kiermaier, nice little players. I think their direction, they're gonna have their direction basically hinges on Yamamoto. It really does. I think that they're more likely to sign a guy like Justin Turner if they get a Yamamoto. If they don't get a Yamamoto, why would you sign an aging, veteran right now? Why? You don't have an ace in your rotation. You don't have a legit rotation. So it doesn't really make sense to invest unless Justin Turner is going to play for almost nothing. But I assume he's going to be at least trying to make like between 10 and $15 million. I mean, we've only spent $17 million on our offseason. 13 of those million went to Luis Severino. And another thing that I wanted to give the Mets a leg up on this competition, and I think Steve Phillips, he was the one who brought up this point as well. I like to give the MLB experts their due. Um, so he goes, ownership is extremely important, and I didn't even realize this. They said that Shohei Ohtani's contract is tied to ownership and tied to, I don't know, to whatnot. So his contract is tied to ownership. Like if ownership were to sell the team, the contract would be voided. I'm not sure if that's exactly true, but like based on what I read, that's what I believed I read. And then Steve Phillips was basically saying ownership matters. If he believed Steve Cohen is all in with his entire being and he will do whatever it takes, he will go to Japan, he will go across country to get the next. It's all about the future. If he's going to get the bag and he's going to get a lot of money, he wants to win. He wants to win. And if he has the confidence that Steve Cohen is going to do whatever it takes, you got to believe in ownership. That's why Justin Verlander came to us. That's why Max Scherzer came to us. They believed in ownership. I believe at the trade deadline, that's why it was difficult for them to kind of waive their no trade clause, because they're like, hey, Stevie, you promised that we were going to win no matter what. But I believe it wasn't, he just said anything he had to do to get rid of those guys. But ownership, Steve Cohen, the fact that he is our owner means a lot. I mean, not only is he our owner, he's doing the recruiting, the scouting. I mean, he's acting like a college coach, a college football coach. He's a billionaire with a hedge fund. He's the owner of the Mets, and he's going to sit on the couches or restaurants, wherever he went in Japan. I mean, it is just really kind of insane what Steve Cohen's doing. Owners pay general managers, they pay presidents to do this. You think owners want to do this? Owners don't want to do this, but this shows you how neat or unique Steve Cohen is. Cohen is not like any owner really in sports. Explosive. I didn't even know that. Diaz got hurt the same day Cohen flew to Japan to watch Otani pitch. I didn't even know that. I mean, I was upset we didn't go after Otani, but from everything that came out, Otani didn't want anything to do with the Mets or the Yankees for that matter. He didn't want anything to do with New York. New York wasn't for Otani. So I don't feel that bad, but you need superstars. If you're going to win, you need superstars. You need pitching, you need superstars. And I'm talking about when I say win, I want sustainable success, not just a win here and there. Like there's been times in our history where we've had a good team. Like here's the thing: if you look at the Mets history, it's so sad, really. If you look at the Mets history, like, and it hurts. Like we were good in 2015, 2016, right? You had a little blip on the radar. Then you go back another 10 years, 2006. 2007, another little blip on the radar where we had a good team. Then you go back to 2000, 6 years before that, another blip. Then before that, before 1999, 2000, you got to rewind it all the way to like 88. Like it's every 10 years we're good. I mean, I want sustainable success, and I like superstars because I like when fans go to the stadium and they can watch a guy, they can get excited about a guy. Like, years in the 80s, Darryl Strawberry, that was the guy. Then you had Piazza. Then, I don't know if David Wright, I know he was, a great hitter and I love to watch him. I don't know if he had that same type of presence where you dropped everything and you watched him. Pete Alonso definitely, in my opinion, has it more than David Wright. But that's why we would that's another factor that if we ended up trading Pete. But like I said, I don't want to get into that conversation. I just want to get into the conversation of us building our team in a positive and a successful way, because right now we have an opportunity in front of us, an opportunity. And I gotta believe right now, David Stearns, brand new right now, he knows he hasn't really made any significant moves. He's hoping these arms pan out. But wouldn't that be phenomenal? The first free agent signing that he delivers, or first big free agent signing. I know he signed Luis Severino, but the first big free agent signing to sign a Yamamoto. I mean, for Stearns to deliver us Yamamoto, and Stearns knows how important pitching is. Stearns, I mean, from the way he ran things in Milwaukee, he knows how important pitching is. Yeah, Pat. Pat, I'm not sure. Nothing new on Turner for 3 days. Um, Yeah, I mean, if you're referring to like I mean, I assume that everybody in the Mets organization is working on Yamamoto. So if they were trying to construct some type of other trade or anything, and that would hurt their chances of getting Yamamoto, I assume the whole organization is working on Yamamoto. Whether that's the right strategy or not, whether it's fool's gold, I'll take a chance. Put all your eggs in the Yamamoto basket because the reward is just so grand right there. And then Pat, your other point about the cultural differences between US and Japan. Yeah, the cultural differences and the fact that we had two dinners with the man and that we were breaking bread, that he went into the home of Steve Cohen, that Cohen went to the home of Yamamoto. That to me is significant. And that to me is a differentiating factor. I don't know how the other GMs and other presidents establish their relationship, but I haven't heard of Yamamoto going into the homes of any other owners. I didn't hear him going to House. I don't know. If I might have missed it. Did he go to Hal Steinbrenner's house? I don't know. The Dodgers president or the conglomerate, whoever they have running the Dodgers, if he went over their house for dinner, I missed that as well. But I do know that he went over Steve Cohen's house for dinner. I mean, that is significant. I mean, everybody knows when they have guests over how it's an occasion. It's an occasion. Now to have a Yamamoto and Cohen meet at the dinner table, you're right. Culturally, I believe is significant. I'm not an expert on Japanese culture, but it seems like it's a sign of respect. I don't think if Yamamoto didn't like Cohen or didn't want to go to the Mets, why would he waste his time? Why would he waste his time at Cohen's mansion? I don't think he would waste his time. There's plenty of big market teams that would run up the bidding, and as you're seeing, Steve Cohen is not going to lead off with an offer. He's only going to make an offer at the end. So if anybody's saying, "Oh, he wants to use Steve Cohen in his wallet," Steve Cohen is being very calculated in this negotiation. We don't hear the Cohen made an offer of $350 million. I believe that he's going to make a significant offer, but he's going to do it in a way where he's not going to be used. So it said Andy Martino said today the Mets are more in on Michael Taylor than anyone not named Yamamoto. Well, I mean, I don't think Andy's in the front office. So unless, and that's the thing with Andy. If he's reporting it, it's official. But if Andy's thinking it or if he's guessing it, I can guess. Anybody can guess. I know we know Steve Cohen had dinner with the guy 3-4 days ago. He had dinner with the guy 3-4 days ago. We know he's going to make a substantial offer. So we know that's in the works. And the thing that the Mets do have going for them, whether you like the Mets or not, they've had a lot of great pitchers, a lot of great pitchers. Really, like I mean, if you really think about it, yeah, and even had pitchers who have great seasons. Last couple of years, obviously Jacob Degrom, but even to start off the organization with Tom Seaver, Jerry Kuzman in the '80s with Doc. Darling was good. I mean, we always had good pitching, and then following it up, Al Leiter, Mike Hampton for that 1 year. The only year that like we were kind of led by our offense was probably 2006. 2006. I forget if like Glavin and Martinez were on that team, but even if they were at the end of their rope. That was like one of the only teams where we were led by our hitters that year. Okay. See, yeah. You know what? I have to get another software program because I'm like almost blind and I have to like squint at this screen. So I really apologize. I misread things all the time. I'm working on getting another software where the words are a lot bigger. So I apologize about that. And that makes a lot more sense. That makes 100 times more sense because literally just before I came on here, I saw like Andy's latest report on SNY saying they were really all in and that their chances are so much better today than they were, a couple of weeks ago. And I really think um, people are sleeping on the Mets. They really are. If you're a fan of the Yankees, if you're a fan of the Dodgers, yeah, you want a Yamamoto to go to your team. But I really think the experts, especially John Morosi, if anybody saw it, John Morosi predicted Yamamoto to go to the Yankees. So maybe that's a good thing. It might be a good thing. But you have a lot of experts saying it's the Yankees to lose. I don't know, how you would really elevate one franchise over the other, but I think the Mets stand just as good a shot as any. I think money at the end of the day is always going to talk. I think if you have a guy like Steve Cohen who's willing to do whatever it takes, I think that's always significant. Let's see here. And this, you know what? This is the type of stuff that I'm kind of like talking about. So from SNY, and I don't know who saw this, it says the Dodgers are reportedly considering a 250 million to 300 million dollar offer for Yamamoto. So the Dodgers are reportedly offering 250 to 300 million. So that is well below what we've heard in the last day or so. I mean, we've heard that the minimum to even get in on the bidding is going to be 300 million. But that's what I'm estimating for these teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees, that they believe that Yamamoto will go to them just because of their history. And I don't think I don't think so. And Andy made a good point when he said 13 hours ago. Andy Martino tweeted about, 13 hours ago. He goes, key point here. Don't trust anyone who claims to have definitive information on what Yamamoto values or where he's going. There's more contradictory misinformation out there about this free agent than any other execs can remember. But you know what it is? You know what it is? I believe everybody wants to pretend to know something. Everybody wants to pretend to be an expert. Everybody wants to pretend like they have an inside guy or something like that. And then a lot of people just guess. A lot of people just guess. Like I've always said, like a guy like Bob Nightingale, for me, like following him in the last couple of years, it always felt like he was a guy who sometimes he had a source, but the other half of the time, it just felt like, oh, it's a 50-50 chance. Let me just guess that he's going to sign with a team or the guy gonna sign on a certain day. So, but in terms of Yamamoto and Shohei Ohtani, nobody knew anything. So it seems like that is the case with Yamamoto as well. Oh, Yuki, I didn't see what you wrote. Yeah, that's exactly it. You saw 250 to 350. Oh, with the Dodgers making an offer. Yeah, it's from SNY. The SNY tweet, it actually said 250 to 300 million. So they didn't even go up to 350. I mean, anybody in the chat right now, I was gonna do this. Like anybody think he's going to the Giants? Or anybody think he's going to the Dodgers? I was trying to see if I can kind of keep track. I mean, you speak to Red Sox fans, you think he's going to the Red Sox? Does anybody in the chat think he's going to any other team than the New York Mets? Yeah, even not that this means anything, but they were talking to Brad Lidge. If anybody remembers Brad Lidge, he actually pitched for us a while back. He was a closer, so he expressed his belief that the Mets have a strong chance of landing Yamamoto during an appearance on the MLB network. He highlighted the Mets' pursuit of the pitcher, emphasizing owner Steve Cohen's involvement, whining and dining him. Lidge sees the Mets as going all in on Yamamoto, making a persuasive case for him to join the team and becoming their premier pitcher. Yeah, I just feel like K Mets, um, if he really, really wanted to go to the Yankees, I just don't understand what would be the holdup. What would really be the back and forth? Like the way the Yankees operate, they usually say, "Give us a number, give us your number," just like what they did with Aaron Judge, and and then they say we're going to meet the number or not. It's kind of like that's how they operate. So for news to come out that he possibly could wait to January, or even for this to go like this entire week, like doesn't he already know what the Yankees, or wouldn't the Yankees and other teams? I just feel if he had a place to go and he relayed that information to the Yankees or relayed that information to the Dodgers, I feel they would accommodate him. The way this is going, it feels like he's really mulling over all the options. He's actually considering going to the New York Mets. He's actually whatever the Mets have on the table for him, whatever they've presented to him, I feel like he's highly considering, and that's what he's using these days to do to consider it. And I want to go back to Juan. With Juan said, Juan goes, "I'm hesitant on Yamamoto. He hasn't pitched in the majors. This isn't Japan. He could turn out to be a bust. You never know." Now, Japan, the biggest thing, and I think Adam Jones said this as well. He goes that in a MLB lineup, you have nine guys who could all jump you for home runs at any time, 1 through 9. In Japan, you only have like really the 3, 4 hitters who are power guys. The rest of the hitters are contact hitters. So therefore, it's a lot easier to mow through a lineup. Okay, so that being said, the hitters are a bit different. But when you analyze his stuff and you watch Yamamoto pitch in the World Baseball Classic, where he had to face the top batters in the entire world, he was elite. He was elite. Now, elite. His he was graded as well by Baseball America as being 70, as having 70 stuff. I forgot exactly what his pitches were, but basically the grades he received were elite. Were elite. So when he was evaluated on the big stage in the World Baseball Classic, and when evaluators evaluated him, he basically came out as elite over and over and over. Yeah, you know what? We're gonna hear a lot of stuff from Pat. I mean, Pat, we're gonna hear a lot of stuff from Yankee fans that just aren't true. And quite honestly, if you really want a guy like the Yankees really want Yamamoto, and you know another team has the means to do it, you're just gonna really put down their chances every time you every chance you get. They're the little brother, this and that. But as we've already spoken about, the Mets were able to get Verlander from the Astros. They were able to get Scherzer from the Dodgers. They've beat the big market teams multiple times already. I'm not saying the Astros are a big market team, but I forgot if Verlander, if the Yankees were in a Verlander. I think they considered it, but they weren't in on Verlander as much as the Dodgers were. But the Mets were able to beat the Dodgers, and they were a big market team. So 99% of this stuff is just said to make the other person feel better. That's all. And honestly, when I hear the more and more I hear from Yankee fans and the more and more I hear from Dodgers fans, actually tells me that they're a bit concerned, that they're worried. If you're so confident, like, why would you even have to speak to the Mets and, say they stink and this and that? Like, it's just some psychological stuff and, just to make the person feel better. I mean, honestly, I have a brother, a Yankee fan, and we go back and forth all the time. We do the same thing to each other. So, so let's see. Who is this guy? Who does anybody know who John Mincone is? It's funny because like John Mincone, in terms of talking about people who are negative about like the Mets. So he's got a Mets shirt on. So I don't know if he's like a player or a AAA guy. So they have a picture of Steve Cohen and they go, "Who is this man?" So John Mincone goes, "The guy who whiffed on Yamamoto." But it looks like he's all in Met gear. So I don't know. It's a little curious. Oh, then it says wrong answers only. Okay, all right, I get it. It's a joke. Okay. Co- uh, Quite honestly, Cohen is not doing an ounce of what he can do. If Cohen wanted to run this thing up to 500, $600 million payroll, he could, but it just seems like baseball would kind of, I don't know if it would crumble, but I don't think it would take kindly. Nobody would trade with Steve Cohen anymore. We saw how that was on the deadline in the last couple of years. So I think strategically, Cohen is really trying to avoid that like mammoth spending spree. I think he's going to be a bit more selective. All right, folks. We're about an hour 15. I'm gonna wrap it up right now. Obviously, nothing's happening tonight, but stay tuned. Anything happens, we're gonna try to cover it ASAP. I thank everybody. Like I said, we're part of a family. You could help the channel out, like before you leave. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Anybody who's here, MLB fans, Dodgers fans, Yankee fans, we're all having fun together. I appreciate everybody. Hopefully everybody has a good night. It's always a lot of fun. I'm just getting a little tired. Have a great night, everyone.